weekend cleaning it up and starting to paint the place and all that good stuff. So we'll be ready to go. I'm looking forward to this project. It's gonna be fun. But here's our star, Kathy.
We can do siding also.
Okay, well, we'll keep you in mind, and we'll definitely be talking. How are you, Kathy?
Okay.
I'm good. How are you? I just sent you an email. I was having trouble logging in, but obviously I figured it out.
Oh, thank you. I was just going to check. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
We're on just a few minutes early. We're going over some chit chat stuff.
Okay.
And so, but you're our star. So whenever you're ready, we'll say go.
Oh, it's after 11, so you're ready to go. It's this is our monthly update, Friday, May the 2nd, May the 6th.
I hope everybody's doing good. With respect to coronavirus type updates, we're gradually returning to normal. Christine and I were just talking about the things that we are still not doing as we wish we would, but we're getting there. It's kind of a problem because a lot of new judges were appointed during the shutdown, and they don't know how things were done before. They don't know each other that well. They're still not all in the courthouse all the time. There are some judges we haven't seen in over 2 years. I don't know which golf course they're on, but they're not blessing us with their presence. And so it's really hit or miss now who will let us show up in person, who will only let us do remote, and what have you. Our judge in St. Louis County, our bulk filing judge for our landlord work, Judge Medler, would like to be done with virtual right now, but they had summonses that have been issued with WebEx information. So they have to wait until those court dates are done, but that's going to happen in June. And he has been requiring people for a while to appear in person for trials. So in our division in the county, we should be back in person for everything sometime next month. There is at least one associate civil judge in the county, Judge Gossity, who is still requiring masks in her courtroom, but I don't think anybody else is. The circuit judges that do our petition, quiet title, ejectment kind of cases, it's hit or miss with them, what they will allow if they're in the courthouse, if they want you to appear remote or not. And I feel like every time I file a new one of those cases, I get assigned to a different judge. So it's not even like I know already how it's going to be. I have to figure it out. Jefferson and St. Charles are just functioning as normal. The city, I was just talking to Chris about the city, trying to do my homework before I get on with you folks and see what I know. He doesn't know that they're going to eliminate virtual ever at this point. The way we handle our city docket, Chris goes down in person and I appear from here at the office and talk to the defendants who appear virtually. I want to tell you again, I know I've said this before, but I can't be happier with Christine and Chris, who worked out at the beginning of the pandemic, the whole way of doing DocuSign so that we get the person, they send us to a breakout room, we work something out, we email it, we DocuSign them, the consent judgment, they sign it and send it back. A lot of attorneys are waiting for documents to come back and fooling around for months, you know, and now we're getting back into the time frame again where there's no moratoriums. The sheriffs are going out, we can file and everything. So we don't want to give away months and months like we had to for a while. We want to get those consent judgments now and get them on file and, you know, have the power of the sheriff putting them out if they don't perform what they agreed to do. So that's working out pretty well for us in the city. We'd still rather have in person, but we're not having it yet. Now in the city, again, our judge down there, Judge Perkins, is doing trials in person, and he tells trial people they have to show up in person. Chris just told me that the other associate civil judge in the city, Judge McCarthy, has not been allowing anybody to appear in person. He'll let the lawyers come in, but if defendants show up, they have to go out in the hall and call in on their phones, which is a huge pain in the butt. But Judge McCarthy has just been appointed to circuit, so there'll be a new judge sitting in that division, and we don't know what they'll do. But fortunately, we're in front of Judge Perkins for our cases in the city, so we don't have to worry. Both the city and the county got more rental assistance money. For a while, they were both out of it, and the tenants who were successful in getting rental assistance were getting it through the state, through SAFER. And now the city and the county both have money available. In the city, there's something that they do, which we cautiously believe has been a good thing. There's a woman named Denise Poplar from a mediation service, a voluntary mediation service, who appears on our dockets, and her information is given out, and tenants can call her or do a Zoom with her or whatever, and figure out what kind of assistance they can get. So if you have a tenant where you really just want them to get caught up on their rent, that's helpful. And we've had a lot of clients get paid either through SAFER or ERAP or through the assistance of this Denise Poplar. We don't have that in the county. There's more dockets in the county. There used to be mediators for the pro se landlord docket in the county, but I'm not sure if those mediators are still coming or not. But yeah, there is more rental assistance money. I feel like in some cases, the rental assistance has been great. You know, it's been a tenant who has legitimate hardship. The rental assistance has approved them. The landlord's gotten paid a lot of money. On the other hand, there has been a certain amount of lack of truthfulness on the part of some tenants with respect to whether or not they've applied, when they applied, how much they're getting, you know, and that kind of thing. And I've also been stunned on many occasions to learn that it's the court date and the tenant's mad that we're suing them because they applied for rental assistance yesterday. And they can show me on their phone that they just did that. Well, dude, why didn't you apply when you first lost your job due to COVID or not? I don't care. But why didn't you apply at the beginning of your problem instead of acting like, you know, we're evil because you just applied yesterday and I shouldn't be suing you at all. And, you know, that kind of thing. And there's also been a certain group of tenants, and this is true anytime, there's a certain group of tenants who has a story that's not truthful about the rental assistance or about the condition of the property or anything like that. And with, like I said, with so many judges having been appointed in the last couple of years, you know, they haven't been able, you know, we were kept out of the courthouse for a long time. So the judges haven't even been able to relate to each other and, you know, get good tips on how to proceed and that kind of thing. One good thing that did happen, I will brag on myself a little bit. Judge Hearn of St. Louis County and I did a continuing legal education for lawyers on Monday afternoon and on landlord tenant, and it went really well. It went really well. Judge Hearn and I were like Huntley and Brinkley or something. I mean, Rowan and Martin, we were throwing the topics back and forth and it was great. And the bar told us that it was the best attended virtual CLE they've ever had. So we were stoked. I mean, there were several hundred lawyers on this and some judges too, because I saw the list. So hopefully some of them got this education and they get an idea now of how this stuff should work. When we covered a lot of material in an hour, it was good. It was really good. And then I've had lawyers calling me since then saying, could you clarify this point and that kind of thing. Thanks for saying congratulations. I know somebody asked me for Denise Poplar's contact info. I'm going to try to get that in a minute and maybe post it in the chat here or something. Okay, so that's where we are right now. And oh, another thing, I know you guys, you will remember this because I said at least a year and a half ago, there is not going to be an eviction tsunami. That is not going to happen. And now they're all agreeing, even that Princeton deadbeat tenant review outfit and, you know, all those places are saying, yeah, there isn't this flood of evictions like we thought there would be. Well, part of it is because billions of dollars were pumped out to tenant rent assistance. And so there's surely a number of people that would have gotten evicted who got this assistance. Not all of that assistance was necessary due to COVID, but again, I'm telling you, I don't care. You know, the money got out, there was some kind of approval process and people, you know, my people got their money, you know, if they wanted to do it in these programs. So I'm glad about that. We always have somewhat of a spike in the summer, you know, when everybody decides to stiff their landlord for the last couple of months and move on to a new place. So we're already busy and we're expecting to be busy this summer with that, but that's just back to normal as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, I want credit for saying, yeah, no eviction tsunami is coming because it didn't come and it's not coming. That is not happening. And then I think there's the one other thing that we've talked about a little bit before, which is the efforts of tenants to get their eviction records sealed. Get their CaseNet records sealed so that people can't go on CaseNet and find out that they've already been evicted a bunch of times. The presiding judge in St. Louis County is taking all those cases herself, and she is generally turning people down. There are occasional exceptions like victims of domestic violence and, you know, that kind of thing. And we don't oppose them if the tenant has paid the rent. We are kind of okay. But I was on a call the other day, and there's an appellate court judge from the Southern District who runs the OSCA program, which is the CaseNet administration, I guess you'd call it. And I said, you know, because they were talking about who's going to have access to CaseNet records and whether they're going to tighten this up or loosen it up and, you know, sealing judgments and everything. And I said, well, you know, if I were a title company, I would not be really happy to know that these judgments could be sealed from public view, and I could be liable as a title company for closing a deal when the person has a judgment lien against them and can come in and, you know, take the property where I just insured the lender and the purchaser and everything. And I don't think they had ever thought about this, which was kind of amazing to me, but I can tell you they're going back to the drawing board on that. So, and again, I've told you guys this before. I think when you see a judgment on CaseNet, if it's been satisfied, if you can see that it's been satisfied, that means it's been paid. So I would give that person less of a black mark than the person who has a judgment and they've never done anything about it. And trust but verify. The people that want these judgments sealed, I'll ask them in the hearings, does that mean you're going to lie to your new prospective landlord about whether you have a judgment or not? Because they can't see it. And of course, then they go, because they don't want to admit in a hearing with the judge that they're going to lie, but that's what they're going to do. So don't rely just on CaseNet for verifying this. In St. Louis County, we have the presiding judge keeping a tight rein on this right now, but in the other counties, we don't really have that, and it can be all over the place. So you can't be certain if there's nothing on CaseNet that means that the person has a sterling record. Okay, so any questions, comments?
Thank you, Kathy. And some of us never question you about the tsunami. We just know you're the authority. So I'm glad everybody else is finally starting to see.
Well, I didn't see that coming. I mean, come on. You know, and they were using that to try to, the eviction tsunami prediction, to try to extend the eviction moratoriums. And I just thought, you know, that's BS. That's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
We know what we're doing.
Yes.
We know what the process is.
Mm-hmm.
Do I recommend a company for background checks? That's really a good question. And I would be delighted if you guys could share information on that with the person in the chat who asked about that. Because I don't have someone right now who I can recommend. I don't mean that I can't recommend somebody, but I haven't really dealt with anybody recently. And the last company that I did deal with kind of regularly, I think went out of business. So I got to figure that out and get a couple of names I can give out to people.
Yeah, Lloyd has Assist to Rent. Yeah.
STLREIA.net. It's a company that I've been using for a number of years. And they're pretty thorough. Yeah, they're pretty thorough. I've had instances where they take a little longer than usual. And they say, I call them and say, hey, what's holding us up? Because they say 2 to 3 business days. And they said, well, we were trying to get a hold of this somebody in the courthouse in some small county up in Vermont where this person was coming from. And they wanted to verify that who they said the landlord actually owned the property. So they do the background. They dig into it. And if it takes more than the 3 days, sometimes it does. But normally they get things through in about 2 to 3 days. And they do a pretty thorough background check.
Okay. I'm going to find out. About Denise Poplar's contact info. So let me go do that. I'm going to go ask Chris and see if he has it. And I'll come back in a minute and I'll put that in the chat unless anybody else has any questions.
I got one for you, Kathy.
Hey, Dwayne.
Mortgage foreclosures, are they
Yeah.
open or stopped still?
We've been doing them. I mean, there were some mortgage foreclosures that were subject to moratoriums. Most of the ones I do to the smaller lenders and individual people and everything were not subject to the moratoriums. That being
Right.
said, I'm seeing a lot more now, a lot more.
Okay,
I don't know if I'd call it a tsunami, but I think that there's a lot of people who are pulling the trigger now.
okay. Second quick question for you, go if you don't mind. HOAs, how can they put a lien on your property without judicial action?
Oh, they're allowed those monthly assessments can be a lien. It's kind of like MSD. It's a lien, even without a judgment by statute.
Okay, that's not the answer I want. So can I ask it again?
No,
Thank you.
it costs extra to get the answer you want.
Kathy,
Okay.
we had a gentleman about 2 weeks ago, Kevin Shortle, come in, and he was selling, creating notes on property, selling houses or land or something like that. And he made it sound like if you sold a piece of land to somebody, even if it was relatively small, I don't know, maybe there's an amount, a number amount, that you needed to vet the people who were buying it. And I'm not sure if you needed two different instruments, like I think John uses something like a deed of trust. And I don't know whether that includes all the information about the mortgage, so to speak. Like if he sells a piece of property for 10,000 at 10% for 10 years, if that's all on the same paper as the deed of trust, or whether it needs to be two deeds of trust. But he made it sound like you need to vet the people and make sure they can actually afford it, or they can come back within 3 years and sue you for everything.
Well, there is in mortgage reform, there is a requirement to do that, but it doesn't generally apply to real small lenders. And I don't think it's something else that, I don't think you have to have a recorded document other than the deed of trust and the accompanying security interest. But I think you should, I think you should be vetting these people anyway and making sure that they comply with income requirements. And I'd have to look it up to see exactly what the income requirements are, but it might be that the payment, the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance are no more than a third of their take home or something like that.
Right. So all you need to do is see their most recent paycheck and go, well, their gross is more than 3 times what they're paying, so they should be okay.
Right.
Or yeah. Do you need two instruments, like you just said, something about a deed of trust and a security instrument? So you need 2 different documents?
No, not in Missouri.
Okay.
Okay, I'm putting in Denise Poplar's telephone number. And she's at the Conflict Resolution Center of St. Louis. Okay, that worked. I forgot to put the second dash in.
That's okay.
Okay,
We'll figure it out.
yeah. So I thought she was helpful. She's been helpful on these dockets, and I think she's been helping some of the more hapless tenants negotiate their way through the different kinds of rental assistance that are available.
Hey, more on Bruce's question. If you get beyond that 3 years, are you still liable for not vetting them enough?
That's a good question. I was not aware that there was a 3-year statute of limitation. Let me study on that a little bit, and I'll try to, when I come back in June, I'll try to know more about it.
Thanks.
Okay. Okay, everybody good? Have a great Mother's Day.
Thank you. You too, Kathy.
Hey, Kathy, I had a quick question.
Oh, yeah.
So I have a renter, actually, he's probably one of my best renters. I just found out he has a roommate that I was aware of, but apparently she's not keeping her room very clean. And so I'm gonna have to get an Rottler in there basically and clean up the house or whatever. My question to you is, so he just re-signed his lease and I have some words in there that basically says, I can charge him extra if he lets a roommate move in. But my question to you is, can I don't want to call evict her, but can I put her out if she's not on the lease, like immediately if there's an issue?
Not really. And
or
that's
how does
really
that work?
tricky because your remedy is going to be against the good renter because that's who you have the business relationship with. And you could possibly terminate him and evict him because he's got unauthorized occupants, but that gets rid of your good tenant too.
Exactly. Hmm.
But, you know, it might convince him to put her out if you tell him he's going to get terminated and evicted if that situation isn't resolved. Because if she's creating an infestation problem, that's going to spread to your whole building, and that's not going to be good.
And that's exactly what's happening. So, okay. But to your point, I would have to evict him. I can't immediately evict her. It would have to be him. Okay.
Right.
Again, like Dwayne, wasn't the answer you were hoping for, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ask it again. Yeah.
I hope I didn't start a trend.
Dwayne, it's an insurrection here. What the heck?
Well, now,
And we're grow-
Kathy, oh,
And
sorry.
we've grown by 100% already.
Now, Kathy, going back to Amber's question,
Uh-huh.
if the tenant that she has a lease with, if he does not have some sort of rental agreement with that roommate, can't he have the roommate put out and just have the police come and say, hey, this person won't leave my house and she doesn't live here?
Well, the tenant that she has the relationship with is the person who's going to need to get that woman to leave.
So
If
long
Amber
as
wants
she
to,
isn't
if
paying
Amber
him
wants to
rent.
evict, she's going to have to evict the whole tenant. And I can tell you, the police aren't going to put anybody out unless it's like a domestic violence situation.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know.
Yeah, 'cause I would assume she has her mail going there. And I knew about this person. And, you know, like I said, he's one of my better tenants, so I wasn't worried about it. But lesson learned from my last eviction, I put words in my lease that said, if you have somebody here, I need to be able to background check them. In addition, if I find out somebody's living here, I get to charge an additional $300 a month for rent for that person. So
Yeah, but your remedy is going to be to kick him out.
Would it matter if there's an occupancy permit?
Well,
How would that impact it?
the problem with that is if there's someone there that's not on the occupancy permit, then the landlord's just going to get in trouble with the municipality for having unauthorized occupants.
mhm.
Good reason to get her out.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, guys,
Hey,
see you next month. Good
Thank you
weather's
so much,
coming.
Kathy.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thanks,
Nice
Kathy.
to see everybody.
Appreciate
Bye.
it.
okay. And everybody else who wants to hang on for a little buy sell here, haves wants, whatever is going on, and just wants to network a little bit here. We got our time. Anybody want to kick it off today?
Hey, Melissa. That's okay. Melissa, are you still on?
I am here. I would like to say thank you to everybody who has reached out to me. My phone has been going crazy trying to get around to do roof inspections. Unfortunately, this weather is kind of keeping us down. You know, we can't get on the roof when it's wet. And hopefully Monday and Tuesday, we're going to be out hitting the streets. We've got 14 roofs to go look at. Thanks to you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I just want to let you know I did get your text, so thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I got to go out and look at a roof myself when it stops raining here. Got a call from one of my tenants. It's one of those ugly situations. It's a flat, well, maybe you got a solution for it. So it's a sunroom, an attached sunroom. It's got an aluminum roof with seams in it, and it's almost flat. It's very, very little slope on it. And so in the middle of the things, there's bulges or buckles in the aluminum panels. and water sits in there, and then it gets piled up, and it gets to the seam and finds its way into the seam. You got any solutions for that, or do you not stay away? Try doing aluminum
No,
sunroofs.
we do flat roofs. The problem, I'm sure the problem is you need a little bit more of a slant to it. You know, everybody thinks a flat roof is a flat roof, but there really is a slight angle to it. Help the water roll off, and you know, you may need to, if it's just a metal roof, you may be able to, like an overhang type roof. Is that what you're saying? Like on a porch type situation?
Well, it's one of these commercially made sun porches, but it just has a aluminum, and there's a little slope to it. In fact, they put a little gutter out on the edge that they
Yeah.
catch runoff, so there's a little slope to it. But it's
Okay.
enough. I've sealed it several times. The last 3 years, I've been going every year and putting sealer on all the seams up there, but that's about all it lasts. I was wondering if you do these one piece rubber roofs, and that would, if it pooled, it would hold it all. There wouldn't be any seams in the middle. Right now, there's about 3 seams running across it.
Why don't you let us to come out and take a look at it? It's not going to cost you anything, and we can, you know, even if we don't do the work, we can maybe offer you a solution.
Okay, I'll reach out to you on that then.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, that way I don't have to go out and look at it every year. If you come out and take a look at it this year, maybe we'll come up with a.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, anybody else?
I think Leanne was,
I do have a property that acquired in Overland on Tennyson Avenue. It's a single family that the current owner gutted and severely gutted. It's missing windows and a lot of things. He took it down to the studs. He has started to do some infrastructure. I'm not sure if it's been done to code or not, and he does have a lot of materials. We're asking $42,000, and it's a beautiful street. There's some very historic homes on that same block, and it is a large lot. But again, it is something that is going to have to be get plans, architectural plans. I think it has the capacity of being a 3-2, but it's going to need a complete rebuild.
And we've had contractors look at it. They thought it would cost $60,000 to $70,000 to get it to that level.
Okay.
And I also have someone in Jennings. It's a 2-1, 928 square foot. It's been totally rehabbed about a year ago. He has good tenants in there, and he just signed a 2-year lease for $900 a month. But everything's been updated. The HVAC, the roof, windows, flooring, kitchen, bath. So nothing needs to be done to the property. And we're looking at $65,000.
Okay, good information for you, Jeannie.
Okay.
You want to put it in the chat, or?
Just want my telephone number or number?
However you like people to kind of email or telephone number, however you want folks to contact you. We do post this on our website too for people that would come in later.
Okay.
To read it off to us too and put it in the chat.
Telephone number 314-260-6676. And email is info@jmcq, that's jmcqhomes.com.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else want to see? I saw Oh, okay. Jennifer said, what does Denise Poplar do? Denise Poplar was the, has a rental assistance. And Kathy Davis gave us her contact information so that if you've got some tenants that are still needing assistance from the pandemic, she's been very helpful at getting a lot of Kathy's clients paid. So that's why she had that. We put that contact information out there. And also, let's see. There's a question for Melissa. Yeah, no, she came in late too, or she wasn't here last week when Melissa came on. Melissa is with want to give your contact information, Melissa? One Way Roofing and One Way Construction. Company?
Yes, One Way Roofing, One Way Construction. We've been in business since 1996, so 26 years. We have an A+ rating with the BBB. This is our second year in a row where we won the #1 roofing company for the North County area, which kind of encompasses like Westport Plaza all the way over to Alton, Illinois, Granite City, Illinois. So all of this area. We do roof, gutter, siding, windows, kitchen remodels, pretty much anything in the general construction we can help you with. We've rebuilt several houses from the ground up from tornadoes, trees falling on them, fires. So yeah, pretty much anything commercial and residential.
Would you like to put your contact in there for us, Melissa, in the chat?
Sure.
So I can write
Yes.
it down. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, Melissa, you only stay up north or do you come down south a bit, like South City?
Oh no, we go everywhere. I'm going down to House Springs.
Awesome. That's good to know. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
Where that is.
That's way south.
Unfortunately, I do.
1 hour and 25 minutes, but it's okay.
Yep. Depending on your driving habits. Some of us make it quicker and some of us take longer.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, anybody else got anything? What else is up? Everybody's kind of quiet. I did, oh, I understand. Yeah, no, Dwayne must have jumped off. That's why it's quiet.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Why would people get a quiet title when it's just not really that great? I mean, it seems like it's unpredictable.
Well, Kathy could probably answer that better than me. Of course, quiet title, I mean, you've talked about doing a quiet title on some issues, haven't you, John? When you really can't, may not be great, but it's better than nothing if you can't get a hold of a previous owner.
Actually, I've done actually hundreds of quiet titles. I haven't
Okay.
personally because you need to have an attorney do it. Actually, a quiet title is an ironclad title pretty much because then you can get insurance and everything. What's the actual situation you're looking at, Gene? Why? What?
No situation in particular. I was reading something in your book just about the definitions of a quiet title versus the other types. And it just seems like it was the good, the bad and the ugly on a quiet title. And I didn't quite understand why that is.
Quiet title comes into play if you can't find, usually when you can't find a previous owner. Some of these properties that I talk about buying over the counter, they're not going to come with a clear title necessarily. You know, a lot of them don't have any problems, but if there's any, it could be in a situation, just for an example, there's a lot of different situations, but let's say that there was somebody that passed away and didn't have it officially with a beneficiary deed or in their any kind of will or anything, leaving it to the family members, but the family members still might have an interest in the property, because if you die and you don't have a will, you might have some kids or some family members that are entitled to whatever, whatever your property is when you die. Well, that comes into play a lot of times with real estate. Okay. I've actually had quiet titles we did where we had like 50 something defendants, and that's what they call them, but all on one court case, and they have to be notified. There's a big process, and there's a lot of different ways attorneys charge on this. I talked to an attorney that I really liked the other day, but he charges by the hour only. I personally don't do that. I wanted unfortunately, my attorney that did these in the state of Missouri had just recently retired, like in December. And I'm looking for another attorney for this right now. Most of them do charge by the hour. The problem that I've always had with that is they can't give me a cost up front. And anytime anybody says, well, it depends on what we run into, I have a lot of red flags run up for my own self, because then who knows what they're going to run into. I don't want them to run into unknowns. I want to know pretty much that it's going to cost me this amount, and this is what the procedure is. But to get back with the quiet title, I've left court many times because you don't always have to show up. Well, that's not true. I always had to show up when I went into it, but the defendants never do, even though some of the defendants are like the cities. I've had the cities and municipalities and HOAs not show up to court, even though they had liens on the property. Those get wiped out if they do not show up. And that's a clear title. Quiet title is great. There's a process that you go through. I've actually taken my quiet titles, my paperwork from the court, because they normally will mail it later, and it takes a week, 10 days, 12 days, whatever it is to get it. But I've taken my paperwork from the court that day and went into my friend who was a realtor right there, and we put it up for sale that day. I've had stuff sold before I even got the paperwork from the court back. So, I mean, it's as good a title as you get. Anybody will give you that I found will give you title insurance on that too. Title companies are great with that. If you don't have that and there's any questions, that's where you can run into things, because you'll have to have people signing off on that. I've got some deal right now where this lady's grandfather had died a couple of years ago. She's got lots of siblings. I'm working with her to try to she wants to give me her properties, but I will not have free and clear properties unless I can get the siblings to sign off for that. The other alternative will be to get a quiet title, which, I don't really want to do that because that's extra time and expense involved for me. But, on the other hand, so be it, do it. So because that'll clear your property up.
All right, thank
Does
you.
that answer your question?
It does, it does.
Hey, John, I guess, can I ask one more question on top of that? Because I'm dealing with a similar situation. I had brought it up a while ago about a wholesale that I was doing, and that did actually fall through because the owner had passed away. But in his divorce decree, it said that he would pay his ex-wife, I think it was like $5,000 from the sale of the house. Well, when we tried to sell it, they said there was a lien on it, and basically, they had to, she just didn't have ownership of the house, even though her name was on it, because his name was on there as well. So I'm wondering if that's an option maybe we should explore. But my question is, I guess, with a quiet title, does the attorney, I guess, then reach out to the siblings or his heirs? Is that how that works? They reach out to the heirs, and then if they do not respond or if they don't show up to court, then would it go back to, it's a friend of mine in this situation. Would it go back to her that, yes, now she owns the house free and clear, and then we can go through selling that house?
Yeah, Amber, there's a process you have to go to. Now, your attorney could do that. It's probably better if you contact her. Now, do you know of how to contact her? I guess let's start there, because that's your question is a little bit deeper than just getting a quiet title. Do you know how to get a hold of her, and is she responsive? Do you know?
The other owner, yes.
The lady whose husband had passed away, that she's on the title.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is she willing to sign that over to you? Now, if she has a $5,000 lien, that may be something you might need to negotiate with her to pay her off, to get her off the title. Is she willing? Can you give her an amount of money, say at closing, if she'll agree to sign a quitclaim deed for her $5,000? Or maybe you can negotiate that. I wouldn't go with the $5,000 because she's not getting anything anyway right now. And that property is going to be tied up, and there's probably no money coming out. You may want to talk to her, see if she'd be willing to sign it over to to you for $1,000. You know,
But
there may be other things to go through too, though, because if he's passed away, you might have to go through. There's just other things. I don't want to get too complicated because it can be, and it doesn't have to.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to
Yeah.
be complicated, though.
Yeah, like I said, we tried to wholesale it, and essentially once we got to closing, that's when they, dug up her divorce decree that said, upon selling of this house, she gets $5,000 from the sale. But yeah, that's when we ran into all sorts of issues. So I was wondering if maybe that's an option she can do, because in her mind, she owns the house. I mean, the man has passed away. She's the owner of the house, but they're saying, no, she doesn't own the house.
She doesn't really on title, but technically she may be, and that could be a good reason to tie it up for forever. I mean, it could be one of those houses which finally gets to a tax sale because of, whatever the situation is. You don't want it to do that. The best thing I could see doing would be talking to her first and going in there and seeing if you could reasonably work something out with her. That would be I'd have to look at the whole situation. There's affidavits you can file as far as divorce decrees go and all that kind of stuff. But what it's going to boil down to is if she'll sign you, best thing to do is if she'll sign you over a quitclaim deed, you can move on with your wholesaling probably now. Without,
okay.
Quiet title is always a good way to go. It's a process. You have to file it publicly in public records, like on the newspaper, wherever they file things for the area you're working on for a certain amount of time. There's things you have to file with the court. You have to go, and anybody that has a possibility of having a lien on the property, you have to send them by regular mail and by certified mail a copy of the proceedings, what you're going to do right now. I mean, I'm not an attorney and I'm not giving you any advice. I'm just telling you what I've been through on a lot of this stuff. And a lot of times it can get tied up. The state of Missouri requires you to have a real estate attorney do this. Now, my understanding is any attorney can do this, but I would not want any attorney doing it for me. I would want somebody that specializes in that and specializes in the area.
Yeah, I guess that's part of my question is, will the real estate attorney do all of that work, or is it on Amber to be sending out the letters and doing all of that?
They're going to probably ask you, this is what happens to me. They're probably going to ask you what you've done so far. And
Okay.
you're going to be better off if you contact her. I would just see if she's open to this, and just see what's going on. Ideally, I never offer any money up front for anybody that's on there. I want them to just sign it over. Now, that being said, I've made a couple exceptions over the years, but not very many. Even on the houses people give me for free and somebody's on there, I usually want the affidavit done for no money. So, I mean, just if you can contact her, I would start there, Amber.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she wants to get rid of it, but like I said, when it came to the closing, we ran into this issue and we could not close. I had to let the deal go.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, I'd have to see more of the details. I mean, if you wanted to reach out to me, I could just talk to you a bit about it. But that's how I would just look at it.
Thanks, Sean.
You're welcome.
Okay, anybody else?
I don't think I got any response. Does anyone have a electrician that they would recommend? I'm looking, a friend of mine bought a house and they don't have enough electrical outlets. So they're looking to get some installed.
Oh, yeah, I was just saying, Melissa probably has a electrical subcontractor. They've done the whole thing. They're a general contractor, so.
I'll just post the name and phone number of the electrician we use.
Okay. Thank you, Melissa. I'm
Thank you.
one down myself. I think the last electrician I used retired. So. So anybody else got any other questions? Burning questions? Got any other services you're looking for? Haven't found a good contractor for, or got somebody you'd like to recommend? He has done a good job for you. We're always looking for recommendations too. Okay. Charlie Baker in Voltrum Electric. 314-560-6878. Okay.
Yeah, be sure you mention Melissa's name when you call.
Yeah.
Thank you, Melissa.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, it sounds like everybody wants to go to lunch a little bit early today.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was gonna have to pull away. Bunny and I got an appointment here. We gotta knock off at noon here anyway, so if everybody else is finished.
Good.
Call it a day.
Good meeting today. We always, as always, we appreciate Kathy.
Good question. Yeah, always Kathy answered some good ones and passed along good information for us. So glad to hear things are generally getting back to normal. But in a few instances, there's still hangups. But no, thank you all for coming. Hope to see you next week, and hope to see you on May 17th. Mark your calendar for May 17th, our next third Tuesday meeting. Hakeem Valez going to be talking on TikTok marketing. And I'm sure he's back to. Did he play for the Rams at one time, John? I think you said he played for several NFL teams.
No, you might be confusing him with the Cardinals, because I know I've done that. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Cardinals. Oh, he played with the new Cardinals or the old Cardinals?
Probably no, the new ones. No, he's a young guy.
Ones, yeah. He's not old enough to be a member of the old Cardinals.
Cardinals, the Lions, and the Giants. Those are the three teams he was signed with and played with. And I'm sure he'll update us with that coming up.
Yeah, sure. You know, sports update along with that, along with TikTok marketing. Yeah, because I watched some of your videos, and he refers back to his career, some of the highlights from his career where he scored. I saw that. That was good. Anyway, thank you all for coming. Hope to see you next time.
Hey Lloyd, could you give me a quick call? Could you give me a quick call when you log off here? Won't take long.
Will do. Okay.
Thanks. Yep.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks, everybody.